Hello and welcome to the next in the player profile series. I've got Sean with me. My name's Alan. We've going to talk. We just talked about a rookie in
controversial one that I picked for you
in Rojo.
Yeah.
So we just talked about him, a running back.
Guess it's your turn to give me
second year.
Give me something as equally as good. Back.
Enter his second year.
Yeah.
Well, he's another one that sort of had a very underwhelming rookie season.
Yeah.
He's in the team that run the ball a lot, and that's Rashaad Penny. What can we expect from him? Because that's these sort of calls are whether you're going to win your drafts or not.
Yeah,
is he worth it?
It's a very interesting situation, the Seattle backfield, because I kind of think there aren't many teams where when you look at them, I mean, how often do you say in your life where you look at a team and you think it's arguably, well, it is the heaviest running team in the league, which is saying something when they don't have a premier, legit top 5 back. I mean, it's they run the ball a lot, not only as running backs, but quarterback can run as well. But equally, obviously, Russell Wilson being so blimmin' elite can also throw it too. Carson's the number one there, and until Penny muscles the job off him, he's still the number one. And I'm not losing sight of how great...
A lot of people think that's not the case.
Well, Carson's earned the right, no matter what they think about Penny's stock. Carson did nothing wrong last year. If you're a coach and you look at what Carson did on tape, Carson was exceptional. He was brilliant. That's what kept Penny off the field.
Well, Mike Davis as well.
Yeah, he
kept Penny off the field.
He was brilliant, Carson, wasn't he? I mean, Carson's stats were absolutely superb. That's why he's, going to still be a big factor for their offense going forward.
What about
Penny has a legitimate chance this year to dethrone him because of the stock they put in, but Carson isn't going down. It's not as simple going down without a fight. It's not like Carson's coming back injured.
Well, they both have a role.
I think they do.
Penny's going obviously a lot later than Carson. He's going at 72 ADP.
Yeah. Me, I like to own Carson. I'm happy to pay the ADP. I have no problem with it. I think that ADP is fine and fair and right because there's the risk is within the ADP is fine, and I think you're getting a running back that can do a nice job for you as ADP. I'm not thinking 1 minute is going to give me big top numbers, but I don't think he's going to underwhelm either. I think he's going to give me a nice solid job based on what he did last year. Penny has to prove it. So the problem with his ADP is that is still a high ADP actually. You still haven't proved it. I think you've got to roll.
Let's look at the players going around him. The other running backs.
I think you've got to roll, Penny, but I'm sure it's more relief work and small duties.
Let's just talk about the running back. Say if you need a running back at this sort of time in the draft, you've got Latavius Murray is a running back going before him.
Yeah.
And then you've got James White going after him. So who would you...
Well, I'd rather take Latavius Murray.
And then Darius Geis is around.
Yeah, I'd rather take Latavius Murray here because, particularly in standard, we know what he's capable of
just because of the team.
Yeah, because of what he can do. I do apologise because I know I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that.
Is this a Latavius Murray?
It's a Latavius Murray thing. It's like an albatross. He worries me, but he is a good player, and when I don't own him,
he's a plodder, isn't he?
He does the job, and in standard, there's nothing wrong with getting touchdowns, which is what we'll do. What worries me about Penny is the volume of work that he'll get, because I think Carson will get the first looks. Unless Carson falters, and he has to falter pretty hard. I mean, he had a great year.
Is there any chance they rotate them?
I think there will be bits and spells, but Penny hasn't muscled the job away from Carson. And look how valuable Carson would be if he went to another team. I mean, he is going to command a decent...
I think he's in the right team for him, Carson.
Carson can command a good salary.
He's in the right team because they run the ball more than anyone.
Yeah, he loves it. He's having a great time there. And he's going to continue to, do what he does best, which is people are going to doubt him, and he just keeps delivering. So
I picked up a few shares of Carson earlier when I read that Baldwin and Wilson said this guy is potentially elite. He's that good.
Yeah, and I don't.
Even though they didn't draft him,
don't disagree with their assessments. I prefer him over Penny, but I think they
Would you take Penny though?
In the small leagues, it's one of these players. Yes, I can afford to take a share of him. In those 14 to 16 man leagues at that ADP, I probably can't unless.
Would you take out of?
Unless I've gone 0 RB.
Would you take Geis above Penny?
He hasn't proved anything to me, so I'd prefer to take Penny. He
hasn't had a chance yet.
Yeah, I would prefer to take Penny based on the running team.
Washington run the ball a bit.
Yeah, they do, but it's a bit of a crowded backfield, and I'm not quite sure how that's going to pan out yet.
Well, that is certainly true.
So I'm not sure yet. So
let's take a bit of a deeper dive into his stats from his rookie year and see if there's any... What do you reckon his yards per carry were?
Who's this for?
Rashaad Penny.
I think it was something like... It would be okay. I think it was actually okay because they were a running team and both of them did very well. I think... Didn't he average about 4.2?
4.9.
Okay,
So
but he came in for relief work of Carson though. So
you looked at Rojo, his was 1.9
Yeah.
on the average. This is 4.9.
So big swing. And that,
85 attempts,
Yeah.
419 yards. That's more than I thought he got.
yeah, and that's because he came in for relief work for Carson. If you look at Carson, it's worth looking at Carson's numbers because this is why Carson kept the job. I mean, Penny came in, they were a running team, sure. But, my problem with Penny is that might be his numbers for this year. He might get... Even if
But
one of
there's no Mike Davis, so surely he's entitled to at least have Mike Davis.
Well, I reckon he gets another 40 carries. So I reckon he ends up with about 120. And I reckon he ends up with about 600 to 700 yards, which is serviceable. But what, at ADP 78? I mean, you're not... largely, you're not going... That ain't going to do...
Surely he can surpass that.
But look at Chris Carson's numbers. And then
I mean, Carson's had surgery in the off-season.
Yeah.
He's missed a bit of the off-season.
Yeah. But
Wonder if surely that...
I'm not worried about his injury history.
Chris Carson, 1,151 yards.
Yep.
9 touchdowns, 4.7 yards per carry. So pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty decent.
And the injury, like sometimes you look at an injury in the off season that's happened, and you're at the end of the year and you have to kind of, I'm not sure. Not with this guy. He's another one of these plays bigger than his frame, big heart, big everything. Great running back. Got the chance.
Well, he's 222 pounds. He's a lot bigger than.
Yeah, I like him, and I like the way he plays. For me, from a running back perspective, he meets the eye test.
So he was drafted in the 7th round, actually.
I like him.
Not undrafted.
Yeah, I like him a lot. So I'm 100% comfortable in that offense. There's a big role for him still, and I think that 1,100 odd yards.
So out of the two on their ADP,
I
you still take
prefer
Carson.
It's very, very.
Would
very
you take
secure.
any shares of Penny?
Yeah, Penny's worth a few more shares because even in a large league, if you've got a 0 RB strategy, if that's the way it's gone for you, you've got a nice, really top quarterback, 3 good wide receivers, and then you're coming towards that point of the draft where you've got to start looking at running backs that could be players. We already know he had 400 yards from last year on limited touches. You're right to illustrate Mike Davis not being there. Someone would have to argue that maybe he gets 120 carries, maybe a little bit more. Then that means that he could get 600-700 yards and a few scores to go with it. That gives you something to work with as a running back every week.
Plus getting more carries, more opportunity. If he proves that he's a player, then he'll get more. Surely more and more. It could snowball, couldn't it?
It could. So I mean, it's arguable that there is a point where there's always a value to a player, and there is a point to him because of his stock value. The team paid a high premium in the draft for his services 2 years ago. He will still have a role there this year, but if Carson continues to grow as an individual and does better than that this year, then one would have to argue that Penny's time is going to be limited in Seattle, while Carson's, they'll renegotiate his
I'm just going to have a look at Mike Davis's yards. So 112 attempts to Davis, 514 yards. So you can see him getting them. And 4 touchdowns.
But would you then argue that as much as that sounds
so that's like 900 yards if you add them two together.
They might have other players that they also rotate in to give a bit of relief work.
CJ Pro size as well.
This is my point. It's not as simple as just adding
the two together.
I'm
just
I
making
know
a
you're playing
case.
devil's advocate with it, and that makes
I'm making a case
sense
for him.
It's a good case.
They paid a first round pick for him.
They did, and that's why he will hold. There is a value to him this year because of that premium, and teams don't give up on the stock that easy. But this will be a very important year to him. He'll get chances. If he doesn't take him, Carson will continue to keep climbing up. And if Carson looks really red hot, Seattle aren't going to keep riding him. Of course they are. It's going to need him.
If he goes down,
that's the difference.
That's when Penny comes into his own.
Then Penny's stock would rise. Penny's stocks, that's quite good actually, isn't it? Penny stocks will rise. Really will go through stratospheric. That's the one stock to own, isn't it? So, yeah, I get you. That's why I would have a few more shares of him over other players that we've discussed in this series. But again, I wouldn't be going all in, but certainly 1 or 2 shares here or there wouldn't do me any harm in any format actually, particularly best ball, dynasty, won a few shares of him. I've got some shares. I don't mind him redraft, depending on the team I've drafted. I'll take a couple of shots at him here and there. So yeah, there is a value to the player. There is something to look forward to, but we're not really sure yet how it's going to pan out, and it might be a bit tricky to mix and match it. But
pricey
if you've got a 0 RB team and he's one of your running backs, he could give you serviceable numbers. You could see it, and that might be okay with the team that you've built. So definitely a value to the player.
Okay, so what do you think? Penny for your no, I won't do that.
You can.
If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Consider subscribing to the channel because we've got plenty more coming up. All the big stuff's coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we got all our bold predictions. Those are the ones you've been waiting for, I think. We won't be releasing them yet because we like to get some of our live drafts out of the way first before we do that.
Yeah, sleepers,
But
bold predictions.
they are there, so
rankings.
We've had them ready. I've had them ready to go since December. Nothing's changed. That's the big thing I really like about this year is whereas before you'd have to adapt your changes, I feel really confident around what we've been doing from the off season, and I'm excited to share those thoughts with you in those bold predictions. I'm looking forward to seeing what we do. Let's see. We were good last year. Let's see how good we can do this year.
Stay tuned. Hit that bell and look forward to all the goodness that's coming up. Thanks very much for watching.
We'll see you next time.